I'd like to call to order our special meeting for February 21st, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. at the Rockingham County Board of Elections, 240 Cherokee Camp Road, Reedsville, North Carolina. I'd like to welcome our board members and those of you who chose to visit us by Zoom. At this time, I would like to ask for the approval of the agenda. I need a motion, please, and a second.
So moved.
It has been moved and properly seconded at the same time that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor, say nay. You have approved our agenda for today. At number 3, now Paula will introduce and talk to us about our fiscal year 2023-24 budget. Paula?
Okay, at the bottom, for some reason, it added another page. If y'all look at the back, there's nothing there. So it really should be 1 of 10, but.
That's why I'm making our notes. I figured you were looking ahead.
Oh, great idea, great idea. That was, yeah, no. But anyway, we did get our salary projections yesterday. Very surprised at the numbers, but anyway, that was given to me by the county. That is what they're presenting to the board. Those have not been approved by the commissioners, but those are the proposed projections.
By county management.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Board members is the next item, 41111019. The monthly salary for the chair and the members, I know that has remained the same for quite a while. That's up for discussion. And then election pay, we do have 2 elections coming up in the next fiscal year. We will have the municipal election and the primary election, which will be in March. So you do get paid for both of those elections. And let me go back. You'll notice over on the far right-hand corner, I've got fiscal year 2019-2020. That is 4 years ago.
Right.
That's the budget year that has the same election cycle that we will be having the next fiscal year. So when preparing the budget, that's what you use it to compare. I meant to make you copies of our current budget, but if you want that, I can get you that as well. But those numbers are what was approved in 2019-2020, so it gives you an idea of what the differences are, whether they've gone up or decreased since then.
Paula, is that number, the 175,702, is that the actual expenses for that year or that period?
That was the budgeted
Oh,
amount.
that's the budget. Do you have the actual?
I can get them.
Well,
I
think it
you
would
want
be
me to
good to
send you
have that
that?
figure and see how we actually
Okay.
performed against it.
Because there was a decrease, so.
Yes, I can send you those.
It is about a 5% decrease. And I
But
was-
I will say, the employees at that time were getting longevity pay. None of us here qualify for longevity pay. And that's a certain percentage of your salaries over and above the salaries.
Right.
So that's a lot of the difference there.
Sometime last year, we were told that the county was conducting a salary study. Do these numbers reflect the
Yes,
results of that study?
they do.
Question, why do y'all not qualify for longevity pay?
You have to be here so many years.
Okay.
And I don't know what Rockingham County's is. Most of it's 5, 10 years.
5 and 10.
Yeah,
Member Hampton, did you finish?
Yes.
Did you finish your question?
So does this reflect an increase or decrease for staff salary?
increase. It is a 4% COLA, July 1, and then a 3% at their anniversary dates. So, and then there's a little bit more in there in case, instead of 3% or 4%, so. But the COLA, county staff is pushing for that to be effective July 1, and that's based on that salary study that was conducted. Do you want me to keep going? Y'all good so far? Is there any other questions that you have on the salaries or the board members' salaries? I've been asked to send out to other counties to see what other boards are making. If y'all would like for me to do that, I'll be glad to do that.
Yes, if one member has asked, we're interested in knowing.
Okay, I'll get that sent out to the counties today. And I'll get that information to you. Temporary salaries, this is for the part-time people to come into the office to assist with election tasks, special projects throughout the year. That's the recounts, voter registration booths, anything that we would bring them in, restocking cages. And what this number is based on is 2 elections. So it's about 50% more than what it was the last fiscal year. But we still have money left in that item. And you'll see that in 2019, 2020, it was $20,000. I don't think we need that. We now have staff that does a lot of this as a normal routine, and we bring the others in to help us with the extenuating circumstances. And I think before, when one was on vacation, they would bring someone in. We have 2 people, if one person's on vacation, still maintaining the office, so.
This is not where the training costs, when
No,
we're
sir.
training new employees or retraining older.
No, this is just part-time people coming in to answer the phones, to enter voter registration, to mail out cards, to help with the election, to start loading cages for the election, those kind of things. And after the election, getting ready to canvass, and if we have a recount, that's what this money is used for. Is there any questions on that? Okay, if you'll turn to page 2, the elections precinct staff, you'll see that we have a one-stop site for the municipal elections, and we are proposing 8 officials, and they would not be here 8 every day, but they would be scattered. Normally, the one-stop, based on history, is 8 to 5 for municipal. We don't have a lot of people that come out and vote. I hope everybody comes out and votes for the municipal. But like I said, this is for the municipalities, and they pay for that election.
Now, you say one stop, that would
Early
not be
voting.
here.
It will be here,
Oh, it will be here, for the whole county.
yes.
Oh.
It's always held here. The municipal one-stop is always held here.
Okay.
So whether the walls are down or not, we will still use that space back there. I've got a design for that too. So, but then we're proposing 80 officials for election day at 9 precincts, and those are actually located in those municipalities. None of the schools will be open, and it is one other precinct that we will not, well, 2 two other precincts we do not have open during that time. One of them is Comer's Chapel, and I'm blank on the other. But we will have 9 precincts open. And then for the primary election in 2024, 4 one-stop sites with 56 officials working at those 4 sites. And then election day, all 15 precincts with 175 officials working on election day. And each precinct is a different number. The more voter turnout based on history, that's where we'll put more. For example, Hogan's this last time, I mean, they were busting at the seams there for some reason. Usually it's western on the western part, but Huntsville Elementary, not Hogan's, it was Huntsville Elementary. I mean, they were excelling at the voter turnout. And they usually only had 3 computers, and she's asking she have 4 this time. So because of the turnout on election day. So we're seeing that it's shifting in different areas, and we're trying to make sure that those areas are covered.
Paula, you said there will be 9. I was looking at the numbers, and it looked like to me Reedsville is being serviced by 2.
Yes,
And Eden, with fewer registered voters, or about the same number of registered voters, has got 4.
Eden pays for 4 sites. They pay the most of the municipal election. The way it's drawn up, however many sites are in your area, that's the percentage that you have to pay for the election. I'm trying to remember, I'm thinking Eden this time, their cost of the election is a little over $16,000 for those sites. And that's just their portion.
And I noticed that theirs was a lot more than Reedsville's, with
Yes.
about the same number of voters.
Yes.
Of potential voters.
Yeah. So, and that's based on statistics that we have on turnout and the cost of the last election in 2021, of how that was divvied up. So, and it may be shifted the next election, and
But it's too late to consider shifting it now.
yes,
We've already got plans underway.
we've got plans underway for that.
On the 2024 primary precinct officials, do we have 175 officials, or are we getting some new folks
We're
in?
getting some new folks. We actually had an orientation last Thursday, and we have brought on 9 new precinct officials, and I'm telling you, we've got some really good ones showing out now. And young, old, male, female, different races. I'm excited about the new interest in our elections officials. So really excited. I think y'all will be pleased as well. If I could have had the election this week, they would have been working. I mean, I was so tickled, and we're gonna be having another orientation. In fact, we had someone call this morning and said they had turned in an application. I have not received it as of yet, but so far we're excited. We've got about 15 more that could not come to that orientation that we're trying to schedule. And what we're doing in that orientation is we're telling them what our requirements are. We're telling them what the salary rates are. And they're allowed to ask us any kind of questions. We had a lot of questions at the last orientation. Usually they last 30 to 45 minutes. Both orientations lasted an hour and a half.
Wow.
So there was a lot of good questions asked, a lot of interaction, a lot of laughter. I mean, that was good. And a lot of them, one of them works at the Veterans Association. He moved here from Texas. And he said he was surprised to find out just how many veterans don't vote. So he wants to be an elections official to be able to share more information with the veterans in Rockingham County so that they will vote. We had another lady that in her job, she said the same thing. She found out a lot of them had never voted. And they had a lot of conspiracy theories and all this, and she said, I want to become precinct official so I can know more, to share more with them so they will come out and vote. So it's good reasons that they want to be precinct officials, and they said they also want to be more involved in community service. So,
Now, these were orientation, meaning that they were getting the job explained to, this is not where you've accepted them or they've accepted them.
correct, no, y'all have to actually accept them at the August meeting, but all the ones that we had orientation with last week, I want them all. I want all of them.
Well, they want us.
And they want us.
Okay.
Because the first thing we tell them is the hours on election day, how long that is, and you're there all day. You can't come in and work half a day and get that set pay rate. That's the first thing we go over. Then we go over that pay rate.
What is the pay rate?
For a chief judge, and that's what I was gonna go over
Oh,
now.
okay,
The
that's
chief,
right.
well, no, it's part of this. The chief judge gets $200 for the day. The judge gets $155 for the day. And the assistants get $125 for the day. And if you figure that up, the assistants are barely making minimum wage. So what I have proposed in this budget year is bumping the assistants to $135. When I told you at the last budget meeting that we had that all of the precinct officials had gotten a raise prior to me coming here, I went back getting this prepared and found out that the judges and the chief judges got a raise, but the assistants did not. I know $10 for the day is not a lot more, but it's better than what it was. So, but those figures are included in this budget, the $135 for assistant precinct officials, yes ma'am.
Are those rates comparable to other counties?
They are. The assistant was last year. Now, I do know that a lot of the counties, while I was proposing to get up to their rate, they were proposing a higher rate. So, and once we get that, the one-stop officials, I will tell you, I added another $1. So, and I told you that last year, but I was gonna do the precinct officials first, but the one-stop, we're moving them from 10 to 11. And those are already included in these numbers.
Paul, if you look at the various assignments of the assistants, the guy working at the machine, the person checking them in and putting all the information into the computer, there's a significant difference in the skill level.
Yes.
Have we talked about any kind of a promotional ranking where someone would be encouraged to take on additional learning and different skills and reflecting that in their pay?
We have not, you've mentioned that at the last budget meeting. We have not as of yet. That is something we plan to do moving forward. We're now trying to figure out where they are proficient. And we've been doing surveys with our chief judges and judges to find out what the assistants are good at, what they lack in, what they excel in. And so we're getting that information now. What we're encouraging the chief judges and the judges to do during one stop and election day is moving them around,
Cross-training.
cross-training. That way, we had a precinct official that passed away that did curbside voting at Osborne or Eden Central. Great precinct official. And is Tim Shelton. He's gonna be very hard to replace. Cause he could do 5 curbside voters while someone else might be doing 1. But yes, he passed away right around Christmas time.
I did not know that.
Yes, it's very hard. He was young,
Who was it?
Tim Shelton.
Tim. Oh, okay.
But, so we're trying to get everyone cross-trained. A lot of them, when they come in, they say, I wanna be a greeter, that's all I wanna know. Well, I'm sorry. If that's all you wanna know, we're gonna find someone else. I'm sorry. We've got to have individuals that want to learn the computer, that want to learn the ballot station, that want to learn curbside, that wants to learn the DS200. We're trying to get them out of that mindset that they have one job and one job only.
But if we call them all the same thing, an assistant,
They
and
are.
we pay them all the same thing, we're not encouraging them to move in that direction.
With more pay, we will. But the thing of it is, there are set parameters on election day pay as well. You have to look, you're paying 175 people at $135 for that day. That's a lot of money.
But if you have no experience, they have to start out as.
They have to start somewhere.
So,
And we have a lot of new precinct officials. We brought on 40 to 45 last year. So, I mean, that's a large chunk. We've got a lot that they're done with it. They can't stand the long, and when I say stand, I'm saying stand, not stand, as in they can't stand it. They're having a hard time standing. They have a hard time sitting for that long period of time. So a lot of them are giving that up. So we're having to bring in fresh meat, fresh blood, whatever you want to call it. And it's all ages that are signing up to be precinct officials. And the good thing with the schools being closed, I'm hoping to have more student assistants. So that's even younger. Because that was the issue. We had 5 students that was interested this last election, but they had exams, they had things that were due that day, and they had to back out at the last minute, so we were only able to use 1. But with the school systems, well, that's right, they won't be. Never mind. The high schools will still be running, it's just the remote, so I can strike that again. But hopefully, the superintendent and the principals will encourage them being able to work. And, I mean, it looks great on a college application. And the young lady that actually worked at Huntsville last year was phenomenal.
they have to have so many service hours when they apply for college, don't they?
They do. But, I mean, computers, I mean, they started her out greeting and the DS200, and then she watched them checking people in. She ended up checking people in. They said she could do it so fast, and it was right. So that, young people are born with computers in their hands, so they get it. Whereas, and me included, the older generation, we still struggle at some of the concepts of the computers where they do not. They get it. And when something comes up, a problem with the computer or the printer, they don't have to call us and say, I need an IT person to tell me what to do. They know what to do. It's instilled in them. so. And we've got some older individuals that are the same. One of the ones that was at the orientation last week is taking classes at RCC. And he's retired from the post office for 33 years, but he's taking classes at RCC for 3D printing. He makes things with the computers.
Doesn't make any good.
I don't know. I didn't ask. He just says he makes things for different people with 3D printing.
Yeah.
So,
Let me
Okay.
ask you this, like everything else in the world today, being able to pay more money helps you to attract people and retain them in
yes.
jobs. So would having additional funding for these lowest paid people help in either retention or recruiting?
Yes. I've already heard that. I asked. A couple of them with $10 more a day help. Yes, that helps. I know you care. And then next year, can you ask for more? And they understand it's steps. You can't just go from 125 to 150 and 155 to 175 or 180 and 200 to 250. You can't do those big jumps, and they understand that. But every little bit helps. I know that given the one-stop workers the extra $1 this past time, they were so excited. I mean, $1 an hour helped. It's a short period of time, but that adds up. And then for us to give them another $1 this year,
Yeah.
it helps every little bit. And remember that one-stop workers, their incomes are taxed. It's like they are employees here. There's a difference. And the way the state board looks at election workers, there are two types. One-stop workers, you'll notice that I don't call their head person a chief judge. It's a site coordinator. They're considered employees. They're paid by the hour. FICA comes out. All the taxes that come out of everybody else that is hired as an employee, that's the way their salary or their hourly rate works. Election day is a set pay rate, no taxes come out. And any of the trainings that are done prior to election day and after election day, no taxes are taken out, as long as it pertains to that election. That's state. I'm moving forward. Yeah, I'm taking too long. All right, moving on. Any other questions? I can talk about my workers a lot.
And we
It's
appreciate
your
it
stage.
so much.
I like my precinct officials. They know I love them. Health insurance is provided by the county. FICA is a 7.65% of the salaries. And FICA, like I said, is not taken out of the election day pay, but it is taken out of one stop. Retirement was given by the county, unemployment, workman's comp, those rates are already set. Miscellaneous professional, that's Roy. I've got that in here for 12 regular meetings and 3 special called. If you want to change that, we can change that, but I've left it as we had approved it last year's budget. But that is something you will need to let me know if you want to increase that, so Roy can get that on his schedule as well. Like today, this is one of those 3 special called meetings that we have for Roy.
Where are we going to charge education? That hopefully Thurman and I will be working on.
I've got a lot of that in advertising.
Okay.
Okay.
Certainly, we want to make sure that we set aside the finances so that we can use, him for
Him
that
more. Yes.
purpose.
Yes.
And you were saying that the county is providing for retirement?
Yes, I mean, well, no, they gave me those amounts. I don't figure those amounts. They give me those amounts for the retirement. But yes,
It's a
that
state.
is part of our fringe benefit retirement.
Most unusual, I know that some of the other county operations don't have that, nor do they have, the, healthcare.
That's state.
Yeah, that's standard.
All that's standard
And I will
expected.
tell you,
Huh?
that this county pays 100% of our health, vision, and dental, and that's rare.
That is.
It's very rare. A lot of the other counties, you pay for your vision, you pay for your dental, it's 100%, you pay for it, and then you pay a percentage of your health care. But Rockingham pays 100% of the employees' health, dental, and vision, which is very rare.
Yeah, that's a big
And it
chunk
may
of money.
change.
And retirement,
Huh?
and retirement.
Retirement, the employees put in a percentage. I don't know if the county puts in a percentage or not. Each county is different. Some counties do, some counties don't. So. All right. Legal, I left that at the same rate we had it last year. We have not spent a lot of money in legal this year, thank goodness, and I'm not complaining.
Let me say this, I know I argued for this amount, but I think we're in a totally different position than we were 2 years ago
Yes.
when we started this.
Correct.
And as Paula says, we haven't spent any of this money. Now Murphy's Law dictates that the minute we reduce this, we're gonna have a flood problem.
Well, we do have the primary election coming up,
Yeah,
so,
but I do think we could safely reduce this to some degree.
okay,
You could do what now?
We could reduce this amount to some degree. And if we can reduce this to some degree, perhaps we could pay our people a little bit more money.
What's your proposal?
I'd say 10,000. Cut it in too much? 15?
I would be okay with 15.
I'll be okay with 15.
Yeah,
15.
15 is more reasonable.
We do have a full year ahead of us with
Yeah.
all the way through June of next year.
And as I said, Murphy's Law always comes into play.
Right.
yes.
So, but I do think we can reduce this to some degree. And 15,000 would suit me.
Well, we might not spend the 15, but at the same time,
If we need it.
there's a little cushion there.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we might be able to transfer it to other accounts where,
Right.
we might, the advertising budget,
And we can adjust
I
that.
don't know if we can do that. I mean, I don't know that we can, we need to do some unique things to hit that number because everything's going up. And the amazing thing I have found is that as you look at newspapers today, they don't have much advertising. They're trying to get it on the back of the subscribers, but they don't know how to market what they're trying to sell. Advertising, well, you don't just lay it out at the numbers that they are expecting to get. That's the reason you don't see any advertising, because they've got other sources they can go to. Internet, tear it up with internet and cut the cost considerably. So I don't know, we don't know what they're gonna do in advertising, but we have to do certain things by law.
We are.
But at the same time, the question is whether we get the message across when it's in the newspaper. When the subscriptions have gone down to the newspaper, maybe like 30%, 40%. I don't know, it's something we'll have to look for.
And advertising is not only just the newspaper, it's through the media.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, so,
I certainly would not have a problem with reducing it to 15,000 with the thought being we would look and see if there's other places we could use it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was hearing you say.
Yeah.
Well,
Because like you said, once we cut it to the bone, then we're gonna need it. You just never know.
Won't. But, utilities, I talked with the county manager about this, since the other side of the building will be used, that will be 24-hour opening. The county has agreed to take over the utilities starting July 1.
That's good.
So
That's good.
we will not have that expense.
Will that include our building out back?
Yes, that's outside lighting. What you'll see is the water, Duke Energy outside lights, the office, the gas, and the sewage. So that was a reduction in our budget. Service
We thank them for
maintenance.
that.
Yes. Oh, all he could say was no. I asked, he said yes, so.
Good.
Okay. Service maintenance, security system monitoring, that is with our, how it's monitored to get the signal out, and we pay a monthly fee for that. The voting equipment, that's on the DS200s, and it will be on our new voting machines. Hopefully they will start arriving next month, and we can start getting trainings on that. The cleaning services, we have an outside person that comes in and cleans our offices. And then the annual maintenance on the security system and badge system, and that's through Brady.
I have a question. There is a significant increase. Is that because of the new machines? Or-
They didn't have the security system at all in 19 and 20, and the voting equipment, annual fees have almost doubled.
But we do have new voting equipment.
We will be getting new voting equipment.
You still anticipate it to be that much?
Unfortunately, the newer it is, the more it is to maintain it.
So how much of a difference is it in our budget from last year though? That's what I'm interested in seeing,
Yeah, that's-
making that comparison from last year's budget to now. Although we're using the 19 and 20 numbers. I'm
Will you keep going? Last year, we budgeted 43,823, so it's actually a little bit less. We no longer have the Cardex maintenance agreement, and that cuts out $683 a year. And we no longer have the panic button monitoring, which was $250 a year.
Do we still have a panic button?
Yes, we still have the panic button, but that fee is part of the security system monitoring.
Okay, now let me ask you this question, and I know this, do you, in your new office, in the office in which you're in, do you have a means for checking, making sure that you can see
Yes,
around the building?
I do.
Out front, and who's out front when it's time to buzz someone in and that sort of thing from your office? Is that something that needs to be worked on, or you already have it?
I have that, and I can show y'all that if you want to see it. I have access to the cameras down this hall, down that hall, and all the way around the building and down the hill.
And
Are
that's,
you the only
that's
one?
recorded too, right?
It is
For a
recorded as
specific
well,
amount of
and
time.
that is
Okay.
stored at the main office, but I can actually see, like I said, all the way down this hall, down that hall, and all the way around the building and the workshop.
Okay.
Do Kathy and Wendy have that ability also?
They do not, but they do have where someone comes up to the door, once they ring, they can see who's outside and actually talk to them before letting them in the office.
So that's like $5,000 less
Which
from
one?
last year's budget.
It's like 300, well, it's 1,000. Hold on. Let me get the right. This one's 48,093. It's about $775 less.
What was the figure for 2020?
Oh, I'm sorry,
I
no,
thought it was 5.
no, it's not, it's more.
Yeah, it's about.
Yeah, it's almost $5,500 more
Then which number? I'm not sure.
than last year.
You're talking about the
I was
annual
looking at the-
maintenance
I was
on
looking at the 30.
security?
The service maintenance.
Oh, in total.
Mhm. The voting equipment has gone up 4,000. The cleaning services has remained the same. The annual maintenance for the security system and badge system has gone up $1,200. Last year, we did the annual maintenance on the security. This year, we have to pay for the security and the badge system. Because included in the contract when we got the badge system was a certain amount, where that was already included. But we've got to start paying the annual maintenance for that now.
What is the badge system?
To get into this building, you have to have a county badge.
Right.
That's for the employee.
Yes.
And
So
the badge system, was that in, did they put that in after the budget was passed, or, I can't remember.
The badge system was put in, before the cameras were.
Okay.
But they put that in before I actually started here. I think it was right before I came to work.
And that was
with them.
probably after we ended up the election in 2019-20.
It could have been. But I know the money to install that was used from HOPA funds. Both of those, the badge system and the security camera. Am I right?
I believe that's correct. I know we put everything we could in there.
Yeah. And the maintenance agreements was also in those agreements, or the system installs.
So when we meet the next time, we want some firm figures on that from the last budget, to be
Okay.
sure that we have everything we need.
And I have the last budget here. I can make you copies. You'll have it before you leave.
Okay.
Okay. Building repair, that's unexpected building repairs. We usually put in $1,000 in case something happens. Unexpected equipment repairs, in this last budget, we included batteries for the DS200. So when they come out to do the maintenance on the DS200s this time, they will replace all of the batteries in the DS200 machines out that we have.
That was in this year's budget.
That was in
not
this year's
coming
budget.
year's
Correct. And let me see what else was in there. Because we had included the Automarks and the DS200s, but we had reduced our budget for the Automark batteries because we were getting the express votes. So we reduced it from $12,060 to $7,435. For the DS200 batteries, it was $6,435. The Automark batteries originally was $4,625, and then we had the unexpected equipment repairs of $1,000. And we reduced the $12,060 by the $4,625 to come up with the $7,435. And moving on to
Yep.
postage, With 2 elections, we have 15,000 in there, and we are hearing that there's gonna be an uptick in the absentee ballots again this year. So that's one of the reasons for that increase. What we had, last year we budgeted 12,000.
Isn't there going to be an increase in the postage rates too?
We found out those rates and they are incorporated
Okay.
in this as well. Now, some of our postage is paid from the state board. Some of the cards for list maintenance, the state board pays for those. So it's just our regular mailings and the voter registration cards, we have to pay for the postage. But the national change of address, maintenance list, those are sent out, postage paid out of the state board budget that we get.
What does it cost us to mail a absentee ballot?
It's a regular rate and an additional ounce. So if the rate right now is 60 cents? And the additional is 23 cents, is that right? For additional ounce. So it's about 83 cents. Well,
I thought
no,
we had to-
I'm sorry, that's the large envelope.
I was gonna
So
say
it's
that.
automatic, large, so it is 120. It's about and I'm guessing, I don't know postage rate, they change so often. You're looking at 150 maybe, 160 for an envelope. And we don't pay for the postage for it to come back, we just pay for the postage for it to go out. The voter pays for the postage coming back,
I didn't realize that.
yes. We pay going out, they pay coming in, or they can hand deliver it. We cannot give it to them in person, we have to mail the ballot out. So we pay for that postage going out.
So it goes to the right address.
It goes to the address that they give us on the form that they fill out.
And it gets there when it gets there.
Yes, unfortunately, we don't have anything to do with the postal service. All right, next is the printing. And this figure was actually based on the ballot cost this last time with a little bit of a markup and then a reduction for the municipals, because we don't need the same amount of ballots for the municipal that we would for a primary election. The coding is the rate that they estimated it would cost for both those elections. The office brochures at the 10,500, that's our election manuals, our brochures, educational information that we send out, printing of the voter cards themselves with the information, with the general statute, that's what that is. We just had some printings of verifications card done just a couple months ago. But if we have to have any printings done, this is where the money comes from.
Now, am I hearing you say this also includes the general election next year?
No, it's the municipal election and the primary election,
Primary, just primary.
just the primary. The general election is a
Right,
different,
that'll be after July.
yes.
That's the one that really concerned me because we're only going up 5%.
Right.
5%.
Now, next year's budget, it will be even higher than this for the general election.
But this is based on principally the municipal election, which has only about 6 to 8% of the people turn out to vote.
Correct.
And passed.
And I used the general election numbers of ballots and all of that from this past election for the primary election, and looked at the numbers from 2019-20 as well. All right, the general insurance, that amount is given to us from the county. Communications, the Converge is our office phones here. The cell phone, that is the cell phone that I have that we use during elections for our precinct officials to call in, which I also get calls on that if something is going on with this building here. That's how they contact me. The MiFi, we would not need the MiFi for the municipal election because that'll be held here. But the MiFi will be used for the primary election at Zion Baptist Church. And that's so that we get the one-stop totals transferring back and forth so that we can make sure that our numbers are correct when they're calling in. The advertising. And this is where y'all can adjust it. The ads for the 2023 municipal 24 primary, usually they're about $300. I moved it up to $500. The miscellaneous changes for precinct moves, I hope we won't have any. That's $1,000. Required notices, it's usually about $3,000, a little bit less than $3,000, but I put $4,000 there. And that would also cover if we wanted to do some of the media as well, but this will need to be adjusted. But I didn't want to go too far without conversation. So that is one thing we will need to look at. The dues, that is through the North Carolina Association of Elections. And all three of the staff here are members of that. The travel in county, that's used on election day, one-stop voting, when we are actually taking materials back and forth to that. On page 8 is board training. They are anticipating that the 2 trainings, so y'all know the board training and staff training is always held before an election. We don't have conferences if we do not have an election. Like there's no election this spring, there's no conference. We have a municipal election, we have a conference. We have a primary election, we have a conference. So we're putting in the budget for both those conferences. One will be held in August of this year, and then one in February of next year. The rates that I have here is based on the hotel rates with a little bit of adjustment. Hotels have gone through the roof. Usually it's a 3-night stay for the conference. Usually check-ins on Sunday and you finish up on Tuesday.
This would be to replace the Zoom
Yes.
training?
And
What
they
happened?
could change it like they did this
Might
last time.
Zoom it again.
Yeah.
I think we ought to do a Zoom again.
Yeah.
They might do it.
Well, they won't do both.
That's right.
They either do on-site or Zoom. But I've got the members of that, and then I'm estimating 400 miles, which will be 200 miles there, 200 back, for 5 board members, for 2 conferences, and the mileage rate of .655 per mile.
Do we know the location of these?
No. They do not tell you ahead of time because they don't want anybody calling and booking the hotels before everyone has the same opportunity.
Gotcha.
That's what they've told me. Staff training, we have the 2 conferences there. We actually will have the first on-site NCAD conference next month that we will be attending. They have not had an NCAD conference in 3 years on-site. They've had it remotely. But that, and what they've told me in the past, when they had the on-site, they would take one IT technician because they usually go over changes in software and different items like that that pertain to the computer, so that's what that person is. And only staff is allowed to attend the NCADE conference, because they talk about confidential information that only staff members will know about. Unfortunately, y'all are not able to attend.
So if all the staff members are out of this office, you have to have someone else to come
And
in?
that's where the part-time salaries come
Okay,
in.
all right. I just wanted to be
And
sure
it
that
would be individuals that know how to do it all. Yes,
So there is a line item that takes care of the individuals who will be in this office when you are in
and
your-
out, yes, ma'am,
Right.
yes, ma'am. All right, next is the general supplies, and that's on page 9. We have supplies for daily operations, office projects, and events at 10,000. The Concord Technologies, and I'm thinking that's the faxing services. This is the line item that it is charged in, and that's a set rate. The Toshiba copier charges, that's based on quarterly rates, and I used the largest quarterly rate that we had to get the figure for the Toshiba copier charges, because that varies depending,
Are we charged for the copies that we make?
we are,
And what was it in our
Those
last
machines
budget?
work now,
Can you look?
yes.
unfortunately.
And does that amount include maintenance on the machines too, or just copies?
Maintenance is included with our, when we got the machine, what we pay for is the copies.
I got you.
It was 12,000 for this current fiscal year. And with the 2 elections, that's what we have it
Okay.
and a little bit more. Precinct supplies for one-stop early voting. We have that at for the municipal, 3,000, for the primary, 5,000. That is for copy of paper, as for pens. That's any supplies that are needed at the one-stop sites. And then what I'm asking for in the bottom for capital is our precinct printers are starting to go. We have 2 additional printers. We had some precincts that asked for more laptops last year for curbside. I could not give them the laptops, and they would have been the old laptops because I did not have a printer for the laptop. I had 5 printers this last time that I was able to give because I had to keep 2 here in case of a smoking computer or one going down, and we had to use one of those 2 to send out. So I'm asking for 65 precinct printers, and IT is the one that found the printer we would need. And then the laptop computers right now, this is an estimate. Laptops are the cost of laptops are changing constantly because of supply demands and needs. But I'm asking for 15 because of that increase. We're using the old laptops, which take longer to come up, they take longer to program, and longer to shut down. And the precinct officials are having problems with them on the site. Most of the time, they would have to quit using them, and we'd have to take them another laptop to switch out. So that's what the 15 for is, for the curbside. Because there's more and more people voting curbside as well. So, don't know that they will approve that, but we are asking for $32,250 for capital. And this time, we asked for 85,000, and that was for the voting machines.
The actual laptops, how many laptops do we need functioning properly? How many do we need to service our objective?
You mean total?
Mhm.
We have 50 new laptops. We need 62. That's why I'm asking for 3 additional new laptops for standbys. So with this 65, we would have 3 that would be set up and ready to go to take to a site if they needed one in case one went down. But we need 62 laptops.
So we need 62.
And
So
like I
we're-
said, we just got 50 last year. And that's why I'm asking for 15 this upcoming year. I mean, it was last fiscal year, not this fiscal year, that we were able to buy with the HAVA funds.
So we're using 12 old laptops and we're using 50 new ones
Yes,
in this plan.
yes.
Okay, I got it.
And when we're trying to program them for the election, the new ones are already bagged up, put back in the cages, and we're still waiting on the old ones to finish uploading.
And I would assume for each printer, each computer, we have to have a printer.
Every printer.
So you're replacing 100% of the printers.
Because the printers, the last time they are no longer, I can't get any more of those printers at all to replace the ones that are going out. They're no longer being made. So I got refurbished printers last year. That's how I had the extras. I was able to buy 5 refurbished printers, and I got everything that was available. There were no extras, and there are none available now with that printer. They were decommissioned, as you say. But if they're not approved, we'll just say a lot of prayers and hopefully everything goes well. But we did get one printer to test it with the laptop, and it does really well, and it's smaller than what these printers are now, and faster. But you need the printer to be able to print out the ATVs for the voters.
Bottom line, we're asking for 11.6% more money this year than we did in 2019.
Yes.
What about this year? Can you give us a total?
This year, we asked for $625,764. So we're asking for less.
Less this year.
Than we did last year. That ought to be a good omen.
Well, they're picking up the tab on the utilities and some other
Yes.
things that is
Yes.
kind of disappearing for us, but the cost will still be there.
Yeah, and a lot of things have increased in cost as well.
Absolutely.
And we want to do more things to reach out to the voters as well.
Now, we need to talk about, the time that we want to have our next budget meeting. We've already talked about well, we threw out some numbers, some dates. And I think the 7th of March is what we
That was on, is that a Tuesday?
That's a Tuesday.
That's on Tuesday, if everybody agrees. And now we need to talk about the time. We cannot, Roy will not be available after 3, so we need to, and member Schofield will not be available at 11. So we need to sort of compromise and maybe meet either before, a half hour before or an hour before to accommodate member Schofield. Or we can do it at 1
Or 12:30. Or
or
12.
12:30.
Well, could.
I don't know how long your meeting
The
will
meeting
last.
could run later, because we are gonna be taking up some new things. I would say 1:30, do we need more than an hour and a half?
If y'all tell me exactly what you want, I will send it out, so you'll have time to review it before we meet. But we will have to have the budget in
About
on
10?
Friday. Well, this will be
Well,
Tuesday.
If we meet at 1, that gives us 2 hours. Because you're not available after 3, right?
Right, we have a meeting that evening also.
So I wouldn't think we would need more than 2 hours.
I would think so.
Yeah.
We get all our information and everybody does their job at looking at that information and we're ready.
Yeah, because we're talking about tweaking it, we're not
Yes.
talking about a
Right.
brand
Not
new
doing
budget.
an overview like today. So, areas that we have discussed today, well, let's finish that, the time.
So, well, I need a motion for a time. Now, do we have to do a motion for it?
I would recommend that we meet it from 1 to 3. Block out from 1 to 3.
Well,
Is that gonna
Did
be
you make that a
time to
formal
get where
motion?
he needs to be?
If we need a motion,
You need a motion, don't you, to set a time?
Well, it's gonna be a special meeting.
Well, what we'll do is, when we finish this meeting, y'all will recess until a specified date and time. That way you're not adjourning your budget meeting, you're just recessing.
Okay.
So that's when you'll vote on it.
I move that we recess until
Not yet.
the 7th.
I need to know the things you want me to work on.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna reduce the legal. We need to add more money for advertising.
yeah. Tom and I will bring you a proposal for that at
Okay,
our next meeting.
For advertising,
Yeah.
okay. Anything else?
I think,
Do y'all have an amount for advertising, what you, because the next meeting will be after I've got to submit.
okay, I
No,
think.
no, I'm sorry, by March 7th, by the next.
Oh, okay. When you said regular meeting on,
I think you wanted to look at increasing the assistant, officials.
yes, and those numbers are in
Yeah,
here.
in there already, so. we're
Incre-
building that.
The one-stop workers increase and the assistants increase is already in this budget.
And member Cole asked that you look at,
Board members
member.
pay monthly.
and I don't know if that's something you need to have, when you send in our budget.
I will, if it's part of this budget, but I will send that out, like I said, I will send it out to the listserv and get all that information. Hopefully I'll have everybody to respond fairly quickly and I'll be able to send it out to you before the end of this week,
Okay.
what their rates are.
And the actual expenditures, you have that information for,
Yes, and I will send you that for 19 and 20.
and you're gonna send us a list of the dates that you went over earlier in the
Yes,
first meeting.
yes, I can do that.
I think that's everything we need. You did say that you would send us last year's budget.
And the
So we can
actual
look-
expenditures for 2019, 2020.
And we might need our expenditures for this fiscal year up to this point.
Okay. Because we have spent more since the last time y'all got that, I think in December.
Members, do you have anything else you think we need to ask her to get ready for us, or send us before our next meeting? And our time, we said we wanted 1 to 3.
1 to 3.
Now, are we ready for him to?
Yes, make a motion.
I'm not sure I know what I want.
Just recess.
Just
Budget.
recess. I move that we recess the budget meeting till March the 7th from 1 to 3. Or starting at 1.
Yeah.
We don't need to be here till 3.
Right.
Okay.
So we need a second.
Second.
So we've had a motion and a second that we recess our meeting from today until the 7th of March from 1 to 3. Is there any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. We have recessed our meeting, 11:40, at 11:40.